We need digital ID to stop boat people, is what Dave the Brickie said. But the kitchen fitter, Steve I think his name is, he said we don't need digital ID because the boat people are alright. And then you've got the other geezer, Paul the plumber, and he says both digital ID and the boat people will be the beginning of the end of humanity and we must resist both. So what does he want me to do? Go live off grid in the woods somewhere? Only to come out periodically to punch boat people in the face at the beaches? Piss off boat people to where you came from, which is, I have absolutely no idea. Luckily, Dave the Brickie knows all about them. He said they're going to kill my nan, which got me really angry until I remembered she's already dead. But then I thought, what if they start smacking her urn? I don't want boat people smacking my nan's urn. Exactly, said Dave the Brickie, so you better get digital ID. So I went up to Paul the plumber and I said that I was worried that the boat people were going to start smacking my nan's urn. And he said, what? And then he realised Dave had been getting into my head and he said, don't worry, the boat people won't be concerned with your nan's urn. And I said, thank fuck for that. However, they are trained soldiers, trained by our very own government to implement a new totalitarian system onto the British people. And then he just waddled off and started plumbing. You can't just drop that and plumb. What do you mean, soldiers? What do you mean, totalitarian? Totalitarian? What does that even mean? Next thing I know, Steve the kitchen fitter comes over. He must have heard what Paul was going on about and he says, don't listen to Paul. He smokes too much weed. He's one of those tinfoil hat lunatics. He thinks the earth is flat. Listen to me, mate, yeah? The boat people, they're all right. And I said, how do you know? And he said, I just think they are. Oh, okay, well that settles it then. Steve the kitchen fitter thinks the boat people are all right because he thinks they are. I said, I'm telling you, Steve, if the boat people touch my nan's urn, I am blaming you. And then out of nowhere, this geezer rocks up. Fuck knows who he was, but he was holding a spanner. I'm presuming he was meant to be on site, but I don't know, he didn't speak any English. For all I know, he could have just walked on site with a spanner because he knows holding a spanner on site makes it look like you're supposed to be there, when in reality it could be a disguised spanner. He had no badge, he had no company logo on his hat. If only he had digital ID, I thought to myself. I may well be about to be bludgeoned to death by a potential boat person with a spanner. He starts talking angrily, waving his spanner about in a language. I don't know what language it was, but it was definitely a language. This pipes Dave the Brickie right up. Who let this boat geezer in? Steve then says, welcome boat geezer, and starts shaking his spanner, even though he has absolutely no idea who he is or what he intends to do with said spanner. Paul pokes his head round the corner and he's on high alert because he thinks this geezer's a fucking soldier. He starts diving for cover. All this got a bit too much for me, so I did what I do best. I picked up a brush and I started painting, and when I was painting I was pondering what the hell is going on. I think a building site like mine is a fantastic cross-section of how the UK is feeling right now. Nobody knows what the hell is going on, but that doesn't stop people from having strong opinions. The media have been pushing this boat thing hard for ages. Personally, I'm far too busy painting to know what the hell is going on firsthand. I don't tend to do much painting at the beaches, so I've never met a boat person. I don't know who they are, where they came from, or what their intentions are. I have to get my information from the news, which I don't trust at all, and people on building sites. People on building sites who clearly don't know what the fuck is going on. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't think anybody really knows what's going on. I for sure don't know exactly what's going on, but what I do know for sure is something is extremely fishy. The boat people stink of fish, and not just because they've been around fish for such a long time. The digital IDs being made mandatory to deal with the boat people stinks of fish. So as I'm painting, listening to Dave, Steve and Paul argue with a non-English speaking, spanner waving potential boat person / government trained soldier, I'm thinking to myself, this is exactly what they want. Division, arguing, people scared, confused. Personally, I say fuck the digital ID. I think the whole boat situation was orchestrated just so they can bring them in. Next up, a cashless society, which could only be brought in if we all get digital IDs. And then what next? I dread to think. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just a pondering painter. I don't know shit, because if I did, I wouldn't be painting. Thank you for watching, guys. Subscribe, hit my bell notification, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah! Oh yeah, give this video a like, and let me know what you think in the comments. Bye-bye! Totalitarian. Totalitarian. Fucking hell. I can't say totalitarian. Totalitarian. Yeah, totalitarian. To implement a new totalitarian system onto our totalitarian system. It doesn't sound right. Totalitarian system. Totalitarian.
So after a bit of research, I realised it's oh god, why can't I say this word? Hang on a sec. Totalitarian.